This is what you want to hear from your sheriff or any law enforcement officer.
I think the governor's position is really hypocrisy at its finest. Do as I say, not as I do.
Thumbs up for this guy.
The office of the sheriff from day one of our administration has had an unwavering focus on protecting and serving the people of this community who are living, working, and raising their families here. And I think what is happening here is just this gross display of political stunts and partisan grandstanding. It's frustrating from a law enforcement executive position when you oversee so many dedicated men and women who are literally every single day putting their life on the line to protect their community, and then to have the current political class in Albany suggest that they know best about protecting local communities is really hypocrisy at its finest. It truly is. It is increasingly, it is becoming increasingly frustrating, to listen to the edicts and the white noise coming from, again, the political class in Albany. And frankly, I think I would like to think that the vast majority of New Yorkers understand that the political class in Albany continues to destroy the great state of New York. Highest taxes in the nation, significant outmigration in this state, and you have policy after policy after policy as it pertains to public safety that continues to put criminals over law-abiding New Yorkers, and that is frustrating. So the reality is this: whether or not I agree or disagree with a law that has been authored by the legislature and signed by the governor, my responsibility is to enforce the law. It is to follow the law, and we will continue to do that. I look back on issues like the legalization of marijuana, right? When I was in the state Senate, vehemently opposed to the legalization of marijuana. I am back here administering this office. Marijuana is legal. We administer the law as authored by the legislature and ultimately signed by the executive. But I really do think, that it is hypocrisy at its finest, in which you have a governor saying, "Follow my laws, don't follow the laws of the federal government." There was a Congress at some point in the history of this nation that decided these are going to be the laws as it pertains to immigration. There was a president at some time in the history of the United States that said, yes, I agree with this, I'm going to sign it into law. And those are laws on the books. And if there's frustration or growing frustration about the way that the laws are currently written at the federal level, then frankly, I think that that's where the anger should be. But it is frustrating, certainly, to hear Governor Hochul and the likes of Tish James bellyaching and complaining about all the hard work that the men and women of law enforcement are doing every single day. I suspect, though, and this is very important, I suspect that the legality of the legislation will be will be challenged very soon by my colleagues, other sheriffs throughout this state, because I think there is a very strong legal argument to be made about very specific violations of both the New York State Constitution and the United States Constitution. So again, I think the legality of the new legislation will certainly be challenged. It will be decided by the judiciary, but ultimately we are going to continue to prioritize the public safety of the people who live, work, and are raising their families in this community. And all I can say about immigration-related issues is that if there is a very dangerous person in this jail, and the expectation is that I'm going to release that person back out into the community, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that to the people of Broome County, and that's not why they elected me. And that I think for sheriffs around this state, that is really where the growing frustration is rooted, right? I don't answer to Kathy Hochul. I don't answer to Tish James. I answer to the great people of Broome County who afforded me an opportunity to administer this office. So I think any sheriff that you spoke to today, whether they signed a 287G agreement or they didn't, I think that that's where their frustration would certainly be rooted. That was a long answer, but that's my answer.
That's a leader who answers to the people, protecting the community, integrity above politics.